What's up, guys? So I got some exciting news for today. I just picked up a partnership / sponsorship from Jackspania Racing. Thanks again, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to honestly review your products and show everybody, that you can get great products at a budget price, and just for anybody who's just, the entry guy who's just trying to get into drag racing, circuit racing, building his first street car, to the very first project. I mean, young, old, somebody who doesn't want to spend, like a ridiculous amount on, an overpriced part that's known to fail, or maybe even a lookalike, etc., blah, blah, blah. I just want to show you guys this awesome package that I got in from Jackspania Racing. And I'm going to do a DIY on it and install, and then I'm going to do a ride along with it so you guys can get an honest review of it. If it's no good, it's no good. If it's good and it's worth it, I'm gonna let you guys know. I also will have a link in the description, and where to exactly find it, what package I got, and all the cool stuff that are in there. I'll put the website in there as well, and I might have a discount code. We'll figure it out further in the video once I get through all this install. I'll hit up Kevin and see what I can do for you guys, because it's always about giving back to the community and helping my day ones that help me. So let's see. Let's get on to the RSX. So right here, gave me a cool Jackspania Racing sticker. I'm going to tag one of my tool cards, or maybe even put it on the RSX, and a thank you card. All the parts that they offer and some. So we're going to get this shifter box installed. It's a billet Racespec package. It has the full billet Racespec Jackspania shifter box, race cables, and the billet transmission mount. And this thing's going to come out pretty sweet, I bet. I'm going to have to take some few things apart, and we'll get that all in the video so you guys can see like the process of how to do it. I'll even list, what tools you need so that anybody can just jump in and do it with the right tools, of course. But this should give you confidence in installing the part as well. So on an RSX, to get to the shifter cables and the bracket, you'll have to access it by either A, removing your battery, which I recommend just so you have more space. And if you have the factory box, you have to remove the box, the tube, so that you can gain access to the shifter cables and bracket, which is right over there in the transmission area. So I have a short ram intake, and I'm gonna do is go ahead and remove it really quick and get the process started. I mean, it's nothing crazy, but I mean, depending on what kind of clamp you have, I just have a basic, so I'm doing everything with one hand, so bear with me, but that's loose. Let me just loosen it a little bit more. That's good enough. And then make sure to take off this IAT sensor, because if you don't, you'll yank it, break your harness, short everything out. You don't want that type of headache. And since mine is, I got the valve cover breather, and this is not capped off. This is just a mock-up intake. I can take it off and nothing else is connected. I do have to cap off these ports if I'm going to run that, but I'm going to make a custom one later on. And then you would disconnect your battery. Since my battery is loose because I was working on it earlier, you would have to take off two 10 millimeters and a 10mm bracket that holds the tie down, that holds the battery. It'll be one right here and one right here, and they're J hooks that go all the way down. Mine is an aftermarket, so it'd be a 13, but always take off your positive first, negative last. I'm gonna pull this battery out of the way. Just gives me more access to where I need to be. And then I'll move this out of the way. That way I don't damage the IAT sensor. And I'll move it out of the way so you can access it later without damaging it. I'll move my power cable out of the way. And then now we're in the area where the transmission cable and brackets are at. The shifter selectors right there. So I already have upgraded bushings on this, and I also have upgraded detent springs from Speed Factory, which go under this mount. There's 3 bolts, and then the selector just keeps it a lot firmer when you're going through the gears. It feels notchier. But with this one, all we have to do is just remove these little safety pins, and then remove the other. And I'm gonna put these to the side, and then all I gotta do is just remove these cables real quick, and then we can remove the 2 clamps right here. They're just like hold downs basically to the bracket, so it holds the cable in place so it's not moving back and forth and getting all sloppy. I'm gonna remove those clips. You can usually use like a flathead on the backside if you have space, but sometimes you don't have space. You can go ahead and just take them off with a needle nose plier. It's pretty easy. Once you wedge it in on the side, you can just pull it up, and then to get them back in, you just slide them into the clamp notch, and then you tap them down to their where you can't even move the cable anymore. That's when you know you're good. Okay, so recording and using tools at the same time is kind of hard, but you want to just kind of notch it. You see how I'm using the clamp as leverage, and kind of just push up a little bit, and it should just come up. I think I moved it already. Yep. And just pull it up. All right, so let's get this off. It's just getting the right angle. Pain in the ass. Sometimes they come off real easy. You can clean them up with a wire brush, put a little bit of anti-seize. They won't get stuck here like with some dirt and like corrosion, but one's off. Save it, don't lose it. And the same thing with the other. It was ghetto, but it came off. All right. And then now all you gotta do is just wiggle the cable, get it out. And for now, we'll place it in the backside, just out of the way. And then same thing with this one. Pull it out. Backside with this one. All right, so now on the bracket, we have this harness out of the way. I just put a new harness on the engine, so a lot of the clips are not in place, but you got 1, 2, and 3. I don't see any more after that. I do believe that's it. So let's remove those and then we'll get right to it. Looks like they're all 12mm, so we'll be right back. All right, so I'm just gonna take these off real quick. Yes, I'm using an impact. Just gets the job done faster. Just be easy on them. It is an aluminum case. All you gotta do is just break them loose, like I did. There we go. As soon as you hear it break loose, that's all you need. then I should be able to just turn them out real quick by hand, which is kind of hard to get it out. And then you'll pull the bracket. Just kind of take it out from there, and we'll compare it to the new one. And just to make sure everything's good, place it there, place it there. And overlapping, it's the same. Looks to be the same height. That might be what the spacers are about. Because it's got the step for the Allen keys. So that might give it the height that it needs, because they bolt up at, it's a good bit distance. Kind of hard to do with one hand because my fucking tripod's missing all of a sudden. But you can see there's still a space that needs to be fulfilled, and those spacers are what are going to do it with those Allen keys that are provided. So let's get on to the install. All right, so for this bracket, as you can see, when it gets placed down on here, it's still got quite a bit good gap. You see if I could maneuver it so that you guys can see it. I'm not sure you can really see that, but there's a gap between this bracket. Let's move this light so you can see it some more. So there's a gap between the bracket that needs to sit, you know, flat. So there's 3 spacers that come with this kit. There's 2 the same size, and there's 1 that's a lot bigger. But as you can see, this one is a lot bigger than the other ones. The other ones are 2 the same size. You don't need the ones the 2 in the front, because when you lay the brackets flat down, they sit flush with each other. But the backside needs something so that it can bolt to. And you're definitely going to need this spacer in order for it to work on the backside of that bracket. All right, so I went ahead and hand tightened them. Used the 1 spacer below that. I lost some footage of just installing it, but it's pretty simple. You just thread in some bolts. And also it uses a 6mm hex head for the provided Allen keys. And you want to use the thick spacer that goes in the back of this washer in that corner, so that way it's leveled when it's bolted up. And then that's pretty much it until you run the cables and reconnect it to the shift selector. All right, so most of my interior has already been apart because of the fact that I was replacing a whole engine bay harness, which goes into the under dash, and the fuse box, which I replaced. So a lot of this stuff is not screwed in yet. That's because I knew I had to do this install, but I'll help you out as best as I can on the taking apart of the center console. I believe, let's see. Okay, so on the back side of this console, you'll have 2 Phillips head screws, and you'll also have, some are option, some are not. You'll have an optional cigarette lighter, and all you have to do is remove the pigtail before lifting it all the way up, or you will break something. And then once you get to, let's see if I can move the light so you can see a little better. You'll want to pry on the sides with with a pry tool. Obviously, I'm doing everything with one hand again. I don't know why my tripod's missing in action. I'll probably finish out with some help tomorrow. But you'll want to be careful when you pull that out, and you want to unplug this pigtail right here. This is for the other cigarette lighter. And once you get that out of the way, you'll unveil 2 screws right there, Phillips head. You'll take them out. Then what you'll do is you'll slide this pocket forward. There's a change pocket and a cup holder. And then carefully, you'll want to just pry up, and then you just want to go around the sides. You could slide your finger like I do. Maybe you might cut yourself. Probably not ideal. You can use an interior plastic pry tool, but shouldn't be afraid. Then this is loose right here for the center shifter assembly. You want to take your shift knob off. We'll be running the new one from Jackspania. And then you want to just remove this. You can see all these clips right here. There's about 3 on each side. It just pops up. Then once this is up, I do believe, let's see, there's one more screw that I'm forgetting about that I'll make sure you guys know about. Nope, that's it. So once you remove those, you're pretty much good. And all you have to do is just lift up over the e-brake. Usually you can just put your foot on the brake, push your e-brake down. This will obviously come up a little bit. Pick it up, slide it back. It's a long console, so, you know, be careful you don't scratch or break anything. And then once you get it out of the way, we'll get on to the next step. All right, so with that out of the way, we get into the shifter assembly. And on it, it has, you can see, there's 4 12mm heads. There's one right here, one right here, one right there. Get it focused again. And then one right there. You also have to remove the shift cables on the ends. They just have some circlips or E-clips, or actually they're just cotter pin. And then another cotter pin. And then about owning a used Honda, throwing in some funny stuff. I guess someone thought that they can put in one of those big 32-ounce sodas in here, and they spilled it, made a mess. And I'm pretty sure that's what shorted out one of the wires because it got past the sponge. That's what that's there for. And it gets the harness in there, but it is what it is. Anyways, also about owning a used Honda is the fact that someone put a screw, Phillips head screw, to hold this cable in place so that it doesn't come out loose. So this housing, this whole shifter was junk to begin with. Not only that, but I mean, it's cracked down there in the center where the ball goes. And that leads to like just stretch cables, misshifts, you name it. But anyways, just a bunch of slop in this shifter housing. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this circle. I mean, it's circle, geez. This Phillips head screw. And then I'm going to remove this this butterfly clip that's holding in the other linkage. And I'll be right back. While it worked, this thing was junk. Remove the screw a little bit, and the entire thing just came apart. So I'm supposed to rotate this cable, but as you can see, didn't take much, and there's some soda here. So what I'm going to do is, as soon as I remove this cable's ends, remove those 4 12mm bolts, I'm going to go ahead and clean this whole area real quick, because not only that, but there's a ground wire right there, and it's all full of soda, and that's going to mess with the connection. So I'm going to clean that up real quick, and then I'll get back to you guys on that. It's pretty simple. Also, these just, you kind of just bend them out of the way and pull them out on the circlips, but sometimes you got to get the angle right. But be right back. I'll get this on there. So once you get the pins off, all you got to do is grab the cables. I grabbed them by like right here and just push forward, and they'll come out of the slots. And actually the shifter's not bad. Still got spring load and pretty much stays in place, but maybe it'll be nice for another Kswap. That one's loose. Get that one real quick. Get this one. Just move the cables out of the way. I gotta clean this interior bad. When I got this car, I only owned it for maybe a month of on the road before it broke down, maybe even less. So I never really got time to clean it, because once it broke down, I let it stay parked for a while. But no excuse for dirty interior once I get everything out. So you'll get all the 12mm bolts out. And you'll want to put those to the side. And like that, this should just come right up. Now there is a harness clip right here that needs to come off. What I'll do is right here, I'll just break it carefully because there's wires exposed right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this clip, but I'm going to wrap some electrical tape right there so that none of these wires rub against anything, so it doesn't cause me any issues down the road. All right, so somebody went ahead and upgraded these shifter housing or shifter box bushings, and I'm going to go ahead and take these off so I can reuse them, but I'm not even sure. There we go. One came off, another one came off. Usually what they are, they're just rubber, but as you can see, they have, you know, like a little bit of a step to sit inside a housing. But since I don't have the original rubber ones, all they are is an upgrade for shifter assembly not to move around while trying to shift, because when you move this housing moves on the rubber. And then I should be able just to get that one off. Cool. That one came off, I just have to pick it up. That one came off, I have to pick that up. But now all the shifter base bushings are off. These are pretty nice upgrade. I had these on my Mazda Speed 3. And it actually improves the shifter. The whole slop in the shifter assembly goes away. But this is what they all look like. Let's see if I can get it in there. All right, so next step is to get this foam out. All you got to do is just kind of pull it, rotate it, slide it out, and that's that to that. Then we get into the cable side to remove from the body. All it is, let's see if I can get a good view for you guys. So it's right there. You see the whole grommet sitting there with the cables going through it. All you have to do is just push it through. And once you get under the car, there's two brackets with 10 millimeters. One has two of them, and another one has one that's under the heat shield. All you got to do is remove those brackets, and then these cables will become loose where you can pull through the body. So let's see if I can place this light good enough so I can. Look how much better the new Jackspania Racing Racespec shifter box looks compared to the OEM shift box. Already it's looking a lot better. So when you go to put this in, you're supposed to go ahead and grab your rubber bushings and put with the sleeve, one on the bottom, one on top, slide the sleeve through. Same thing for all four corners, but since I have these little billet pieces, we're just gonna add it in there. Once it's centered. And an easy way to figure that out is grab your screwdriver and you could go right through the bushings to find out where the hole is at for the bolt. So and just go like that, and you can aim them, just align them straight. I mean, if you put it aligned straight, you should just drop all the way through. So that's your example right there. All we're gonna do is just go ahead and put these 12 millimeter bolts back in. Usually, I always tell everybody to start them by hand, but there's some people that just send it all the way. And that just leads to problems later. You're either A, going to break the bolt in the body, B, you're going to make it harder for yourself taking it apart later on if you want to return it to stock and resell it, or maybe swap to a different style shifter box later down the road. Some company might have a improvement or a different style box that you want, and you'll just go from there. So this bushing flipped upside down. See, this cable's getting in my way, so it's not allowing me to aim it straight. There we go. I'm gonna have to move the cable so I can get the box straightened out. Sorry if I sound all stuffy. It's just that I'm big, I'm bending over, and makes it hard for me to get that in. But man, I don't like the way that's on my hand. But then you just want to just go down slowly. I mean, I'm barely even pushing on these just to I mean, they should be torqued, maybe 10 foot-pounds, but all right, that's it. And already this is starting to look good. And then it provides some Allen keys to put in your shifter so you can tighten it down. And you want to put some Loctite on the screws, and when I get to that point I will. But it has full adjustability on height. Once you put that top part of the shifter on, I mean, thing's gonna look sweet. All right, so here's a tip, and I seen this while installing it myself, so it's pretty cool. When you go to put it on, it feels loose, but if you go and you push it down like that, it clicks. It can't rotate left or right. That's when you know that it's on. Blue thread locker. And I'm going to put some on the screws. And it comes with a bag of Allen keys. And that's used to tighten up the screws on the top and the bottom. There we go. Well, you get the point. But use blue thread locker so that way they don't vibrate out, because it is billet. It does vibrate from the body, especially if you have aftermarket mounts like me. Everything vibrates on the car, so those screws will come loose over time. And then this height adjustment up and down for your shifter, and what holds this shifter in place will come loose, and then it might, when you go to shift, it might pop out and go left, and you might smash your screen or punch something, or just punch the air. But either way, that thing looks sweet. Look how sweet this thing looks. So I went ahead and put a blue Loctite on there, and I still have to clean it up. But it's got blue Loctite on all these screws, so that way later on they can be backed out with a little bit of, you know, strength behind an Allen key, which isn't much. I didn't want to put red because then you have to use heat, and anything above that like green, and I mean, then you just have to drill it out. But anyways, to get to the point, I use blue thread locker. You don't have to use it, but you're going to adjust it every now and then. I did that so it won't vibrate out. I've had other shifters from other brands come loose, so this is what I wanted to do. I tightened them down, adjusted my height, and I wanted it to be like this so that I can sit there comfortably at my height. Now, this might be too tall for some people, but I mean, you got to remember I'm like 6'2", so you want to adjust to your best likes of it. I mean, this thing is no play. It's real nice, but Yeah, you can adjust the height up or down. You can put it all the way down if you want and just have a really short shifter, but I like a little bit more control, and I like it like this. So let's see, you know, just like that. And look at that Jackspania Racing billet anodized blue shift knob. I think it's sweet. All right, so the shift cables, the grommet's loose. It's ready to come through, but you have to remove this bracket that holds the shift cables, the first bracket. They're 10 millimeters. And then you got 2 more to hold the shift bracket. I don't believe there's any more after that. Nope, it just goes up and over the transmission. So I'm going to go ahead and get these bolts off because it's under the car. It's a little bit hard to see, but you want to remove that one, that one, that one, and that one. Or you can remove this one, slide that out, and you might be able to use that to guide one of your cables and just zip tie the other cables so it runs together. So these are the OEM cables, and these are the Jackspania Racing shifter cables. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that boot off and modify it to fit this factory cable, and then once I get it installed, I'll get some pictures while I'm down there so you guys can see what I did. So I went ahead and snipped open the ends of the cables, of the grommet, to get the cables through. That way it fits like factory. I'm leaving a zip tie in the center just to keep them close, but if it's too close to the exhaust, then I'll snip the long end, which I'm gonna do anyways, but that way nothing melts or gets, set on fire. And I'm still gonna run the factory routing of the cables. So cables are installed. All I gotta do is just put the grommet through and run it on the shifter, and then tighten everything down. You got your cotter pin. Tip of some good advice is to not put the cable inside first until you lay it over the selector. That way it's easier. Then once you do, you just pull it back a little bit while these nuts are slid back. That way it goes through the hole. And then once you do, you want to slide the butterfly clip in the slot so it holds it in place, and then tighten that down, which I just hand tighten them, and then I'll tighten them down once I finish up on the shifter. But almost there. Okay, so let me get a focus on that. So if you have any cable binding and you set it at the highest point, you have to rotate this bracket for the cable not to be binding. So if it's at the highest point, this has to be rotated forward. If you're at the middle point, the screw should be in the middle. And if you're at the lowest point, which is the longest throws, I believe it should be where that's at. So I should be able to just break that loose somehow and then rotate the cable bracket. But when you loosen this bottom part, you should be able to loosen the top part, so that way you can rotate it, tighten the top, and then tighten the bottom. All right, so I got the cables all the way to like the shortest they can go on each end, on there and there. So now I have 0 binding after adjusting the bracket right here, swinging the bottom forward, and then tightening it up, and making sure that these cables were short, just like the factory length. And with this shifter, going through the gears is really nice now. So let's see, let me focus on that. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. See, I'm just very little effort, and then reverse right there. I'm gonna go ahead and put the, now that I got it all figured out and it goes through the gears, it's not binding anymore because of the bracket angle down there. Later on I can adjust these cables right here and get it to a shorter throw, the more I get used to it. But it's pretty sweet. shifts nice and crisp. Definitely get some detent springs, and if you could do the shift selector spring upgrade as well, this thing would be the ultimate combo. But it's real nice and notchy for first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And I mean, like, no play. This is not a BS like review or opinion or nothing like that. This actually is pretty nice. It gets the gears like it's supposed to, and once you figure this out, so I've watched other videos, I've seen other write-ups and stuff like that.
Watch.
Once you're done, connect your intake, plug in your IAT, put your battery back in, positive first, negative last, and go take for a test drive. I didn't put back any of my interior just because, in case I have to do any adjustments, I can on the fly. So far, so good. I like it. So after driving for a day, I absolutely love it. It's neutral. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. The only thing that I wish that there was a way to fix this, and I talked to Texas Honda channel about reverse gear. He was having the same troubles I am, where you have to go all the way to the right. And when you get back, you can't have the cover on until you pop it up to get it in there. But if you notice, look how close it is to that tab right here that doesn't allow it to engage. Now, if you cut that off, like right here and then right there, it would be fine. But the problem is with the shifter cover over with the boot, it's in like an oval design, oval / circle, but the problem with that is that it doesn't allow it to engage into reverse. So that's something that they should maybe look into revising or something later on in the future, or notching down here where it can allow it to go further. I'm not sure, but other than that, driving excellent, no problems, firm, shifting, it's crisp, it does what I needed to do. I have zero complaints about it except for reverse. Also, when you do anything like putting on the bracket for the RSX, I recommend running 3 spacers that comes with the package. A lot of people get away with running 1 and you get all your gears, but I noticed reverse was gone. Putting all 3 spacers on the included bracket eliminates the issue with reverse, but the problem is the adjustment right here at the shifter itself, just because of the fact that if you adjust it further in, it makes it harder to get to reverse. If you adjust a little bit further out, you're able to get it in reverse, but you run into clearance issues with the plastic housing and this. Now you can rotate this maybe to an angle like 15 degrees, maybe 20 degree this way, and like in the Civic Type R's and stuff, but then and the 10 Gen SIs. But I don't like that, because then, I don't know, it's just personal preference. I like my shifter to be straight, so that's just preference. But anyways, overall, highly recommend for anybody who needs it on an RSX or a Kswap car, especially with the plate that adapts it to get it up, and you can mount it onto the body of a EG, DC, EK, you name it. But other than that, I'm pretty content with this, and hopefully I hope to get some more products and do some more reviews and installs and go from there. But like always, thanks for watching, and if you guys have any questions or, you know, anything I missed out, make sure to comment on the comments and let me know. I can answer them as best as I can with some update videos or private message, whatever. But comment on the video and let me know what you like about it, what needs to be fixed, or any type of comments on, like, if I missed something or you didn't get what part of the installation wasn't done because I went too fast or something like that. I'm here to help everybody, so if you need any help, yeah, definitely go get yourself a Jackspania Racing shifter box if you don't want to pay the high toll price of another shifter just because. But yep, thanks guys. Later. So I was able to secure a discount code for you guys. And if you want the same shifter box assembly, the full race spec package with the cables and the bracket and the shifter assembly and the knob, all you got to do is just go to jackspaniaracing.shop. And then once you get to the website, you can pick a product you want and then go to checkout. And thanks to Kevin, you guys are able to get a 10% off code on there, which is honestly better than nothing, because, you know, nowadays every little dollar counts, and honestly, it's better than nothing. It's better than paying retail, honestly. But that code, I'm going to put it on here, and I'm going to put it in the description as well, is JSR10. So go to your coupon codes before at checkout, and make sure you type in JSR10. And make sure to comment, like, subscribe. Also, make sure to stop on to Jackspania Racing and buy, you know, some products, and just show some love. And also, if you guys have any questions, like I stated before, just make sure to comment, message me, hit me up, and like the video and share, because I mean, a little bit goes a long way, and I appreciate you guys' support, because then I'm able to do more videos like this and help out the community with stuff, products that no one hasn't installed yet, or anything that just needs more DIY without speeding through a video and making it like a 5-minute install, which, you know, it takes like an hour or 2 or 3. So I'm trying to, you know, show everybody how to do something like this step by step, the easiest way possible without making it too difficult, so that just anybody can do it with just a regular set of hand tools. But anyways, thanks again, guys. You have a good one. Peace.